Hey everyone, and welcome to Tuesday evening's version of the Be More Successful show. Because my day has not gone at all like I planned it or like I thought it would. I even have my makeup that I brought in here this morning, fully intending to put on, and I haven't put it on. Not that you care. I'm just saying today is not gone as planned. So we're actually going to talk about playing to your strengths today in just a few seconds. I will say, if you are seeing this live, say howdy. If you're catching it as a replay, let me know you're here. And above all, if what I share with you today really resonates with you and you feel compelled to share it, I would love that. That's how this gets around. And it does make a difference in people's lives. So please share away if you so feel called. Big, huge shout out, Albert, yesterday gave me an awesome share. That was really lovely, Albert. Thank you. So we're talking about playing to your strengths in business. And it's really an interesting concept because I will say that I'm probably one of those that says focus more on your strengths, a little less on your weaknesses, just because I believe you can get a better return on improving your strengths by 5 or 10% than you can by improving a weakness 5 or 10%. But I said that and I was like, well, that kind of says, well, don't work on the things you need to work on. And that's not my intention, because there are some times you need to work on things that make you a really good leader. And I don't think leadership is really innate. I mean, you might have a talent for it, but that talent's only going to take you so far. And as a business owner, I do believe you always need to be working on your leadership skills, on the ability to have tough conversations, on the ability to motivate and inspire and educate and lift people up, but also to say this is enough. Right? You've got to be able to do that. And I think that comes with experience. But, today we're talking about the strengths aspect of things, because there's so much of your business that really should lean into your strengths, should really capitalize on that. So if you think about strengths as just something you naturally excel at, something that maybe you have practiced over a while. I know somebody was telling me one time, they're like, oh, you're just a natural networker. I'm like, no, I am not a natural networker. I like to go stand in the back of the room against the wall and wait and watch everybody. That's my networking preferred style. But I have had to learn how to become a better networker if I wanted my business to grow, if I wanted to find strategic partners, right? So I do believe you do have to practice on some of those things. And that it can become a strength with the practice. But I also think there's a lot of strengths that just come to you naturally. They are things that you probably don't even think about as being a strength. It's like as easy as breathing air. And the trap that we can get into with that is that we can discount these strengths. We can not be aware of them, so don't know how to maximize them in the best positive way possible. We can really take it too far sometimes. I think there's an interesting thing to say, everything in moderation, and you can take a good thing too far, especially if you're not really conscious of it. Like, it's not strategic and it's not a part of your intention. And I'm really big, if you've been watching my videos, on strategy and intention. And like we talked before, like when we're not open to improvement, that can be a little bit of a trap that we have with our strengths. So I'm going to tell you a story, though, about my strengths, because I think perhaps one of the biggest traps that people get into as business owners when we're not aware of those strengths is we start to lose a little bit of ourselves along the way. As the business grows, as we coulda, woulda, shoulda, 1,000 different things, right? We can lose the focus. We can lose the intention and integrity of what it is that we're really good at with part of that process. And it was so interesting. Like, even today, I was on a virtual conference for NAWBO, our national conference time. And of course, like most, we're having to do it virtual. And we were doing this one breakout session with Goldman Sachs, and they were doing a case study. And one of the gentlemen asked somebody that had shared their COVID pivot, well, what about X, Y, and Z? And she goes, well, that's not in our wheelhouse. So it didn't make good sense. That's somebody that's in tune with their strengths, right? And really can easily look at something and go, yes, no. This is in our wheelhouse, or this is kind of, but we can make it work, or this is so far out the work that we would have to do into it would be too great of an investment right now. And that is power. So I think in my first business, when I was really grappling would be the better word. I wouldn't consider it a struggle. It was a journey where I had this conversation. I had conversations with God. And I'm like, okay, God, if it's not this, then what? If it's not what I'm doing right now, what is it? Because I know I really love business. What? And one of the things I did was do Strength Finders 2.0. I don't know if you've done your Strength Finders. If you have, tell me what they are. I totally geek out on this now. So tell me what they are in the comments so that I can do that. If you've never heard of Strength Finders, go to Amazon, buy the book. There's a code in the book. Do it and learn a little bit more about yourself. So my Strength Finders, I'm going to shut my door. Hold on. Everyone's out of classes, so it's starting to get rowdy downstairs. My Strength Finders are strategic, futurist, individualism, achiever, activator. So that tells me a lot. It actually is me to a T. But at the time, I remember looking at it going, what the hell do I do with that? I'm like, I don't even know what this is, right? And it was part of the journey, but really this business that I do now allows me to live into every single one of those strengths. And I find that when I'm in my zone of genius, my strengths, right, I am awesome at what I do. I feel proud about what I do. I know I'm doing a good job. When I venture into areas that are not my quite strength, I typically drop the ball. I really do. I'm going to be honest, right? I'm not perfect. Nobody is. I'm typically either the bottleneck or I drop the ball. And so there's this delicate balance, of really managing your strengths in your business so that you can continue to be more successful. So I want to give you a couple of considerations, 3. Remember, if you're here and say howdy, so I know you're watching, I can see some eyeballs, but I just love to know who you are. And if you're enjoying this message, make sure you're sharing it at the end so others can reap the benefit as well. So number 1 is remember that really and truly as the owner, you only need to be doing the things that you should be doing. So if you're going to take in our roles of wearing many hats, if you've got to put on a short-term hat, groovy, have a plan for how to back out of it, especially if it's not your strength. Because I look at it this way, as if you really feel like you should be doing your books and it's not your strength, chances are you're not doing your books very well. And that would be an instance where a third party probably could do a better job more efficiently and more accurately than you could. You're likely paying for it somewhere. Either your CPA has to weed through it, right? Or your tax accountant has to weed through the mess and fix things at the end of the year, so you're paying for it. Why not let somebody else step into that strength? Okay, so if you have to take on an extra hat, I get it. We own businesses and sometimes we lose staff and we have changes and we have to do that, but have a plan for how to step back out of it. A lot of times, especially in the growth phase of business, a business owner does not make the plan for how they're going to step out of it, because the goal is not that you wear every hat. The goal is that you get to a point to where you are doing only the things that you should be doing. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, think about this. So I have this under collaboration. You guys know I'm a big collaborator. I love collaboration. That's why we do the Thrive and Flourish Challenge. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But, when you're looking at your partners and your mentors and your team and your employees and all of these different collaborators that are a part of your small business infrastructure or environment, think about ways that you can complement or not contrast, but if I've got these 5 over here, okay, my 5, right? They tend to be not so in the land of detail and research and knowledge and things like that. I tend to move fast. So I like to complement myself with the people that do like to do those things, because I want to make sure I'm accurate. And I know I can glean quicker from their knowledge than it could for me to go out and do all of those things. Okay, so it's a complementary strength that really starts to give a wholeness to what it is that I'm doing. Now, conversely, I think there is times for more diversity. Maybe you share a strength, but maybe that person, like we talked about yesterday, when it came to things like that, but radical diversity actually is where innovation comes in. So if you can think about your collaborators in a more strategic standpoint, not just people that look like you or people that augment you and make, that whole factor, that's important, right? But also the people kind of in that next rung who can challenge you, who can help you innovate, who can help you create and help you grow further than you would have gotten on your own. So I think that you have to be in tune with who you are and what your strengths are to consciously see where you're falling short. You might be going like, oh my gosh, I am good at this and I'm used to being good at this, but I haven't really changed. I haven't really evolved in 2 or 3, 10 years, however long it is. What is it that I need? I need to get somebody that gets me, but that's going to challenge me, right? So this is just another way that you can think about playing to your strengths and how you can use that if you're conscious of it. You do need to have some consciousness about it. And I think that really leads into the third part of it, is recognizing the strengths of others. I have found, and especially with the Strength Finders, I'm not a Strength Finders coach, but it's an easy language. And even I have a virtual assistant I'm interviewing, and I put it out on the job and she put me hers. And I was like, oh, cool. And I went out and I looked at her and I was like, okay, how would we work together? How would that work? Because I really need a right-hand gal or guy, whoever that is, right? So when you start to become more aware of your strengths and how you can play into them and how much better you feel when you're in your zone of genius, you start to recognize the strengths of other people. And if through the course of your work, you really look at somebody's strengths in their job placement, in their satisfaction level, if somebody else is able to live in their strength and have that joy and get a great sense of accomplishment and contribution, and maybe, they feel like they get their talk in, they get their listening, they're seen for their knowledge, right? They're appreciated for what it is that they do. I think that's when they become outstanding team members. Your small business is small enough. I even we might have another talk about this. Until I think you get to the point of 100 employees where you can't possibly know the name and the story and the personality of every one of your employees, and there's a point for that, right? That's okay. But if you're at that point, then yeah, there's probably other people that can take care of this for you. Although you'll just add value to your company the more you put time into your people. But as anything under that, if you know everybody's name, you know their birthday, you know their husband's name, their kids' names, their spouses' names, where they went on their last vacation, then you really should know what their strengths are so that you can help them live that much better into it. So that is our Be More Successful lesson today. I will say our registration, I mentioned it earlier, for the Thrive and Flourish Challenge. We start next Monday on the 28th of September. We do this challenge once every 4 to 6 weeks. So if you're seeing this later, you can by all means register for the next one. But I'm just telling you, if you want to be on the September 28th, now's the time to register. And truly, it's things like this, it's insights like this, where I want to call you forward into being more successful each one of those 5 days in your business just a little bit more. Because it is about that 1% better each and every day. And even though you may know what to do, sometimes there's a no-do gap, right? The no and the do are pretty far away from each other. I'm just here to help with that because I believe what is simple gets done. We're covering cash, we're covering new clients, new services, we're covering dashboards, and really how do you prepare your business for 2021 and being able to grow and capitalize it and come out of 2020 so much stronger than you went in. So I encourage you to join us. I'd love to see you there. Get in very soon so you can get it on your calendar. And until then, I will see you tomorrow. Like always, if you enjoyed today's session, please share this with your friends so that they can get some value from it as well. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you're having a beautiful day. The rest of your week will be extremely profitable. And until then, I'm Leslie Hassler with the Your Biz Rules Business Coaching.